Sleepy English Academy.
Title: The Turning Point. Amara Patel sat in her small, dimly lit office, staring at her computer screen. The cursor blinked on her unfinished resignation letter, and her mind raced with doubts. She had worked as a marketing manager at Spark Tech, a tech company, for nearly 8 years. It was a stable job with good pay, but lately, she had felt something deep inside, an urge for change, for meaning, for growth. At 35, Amara felt like she was living on autopilot, her dreams and ambitions becoming more distant as the years passed. Her best friend, Priya, always said, "Sometimes you have to risk everything to find out who you are." Amara admired Priya's courage. Priya had left her corporate job 2 years ago to pursue her passion for photography, traveling across India to capture stories. She looked happier and more fulfilled than ever, while Amara felt trapped in the endless cycle of deadlines and presentations. Is this all there is? Amara wondered, glancing at her watch. Her fiancé, Raj, would be waiting at the cafe to talk about their wedding plans. They had been together for 5 years, and while Raj was kind, responsible, and supportive, Amara had recently started questioning if he truly understood her. He didn't see the point of her wanting to leave Spark Tech. People work their whole lives to find stability, Amara. You're just lucky to have it, he would say, dismissing her restless feelings. At the cafe, Raj greeted her with a warm smile, and they started talking about the wedding. But Amara's mind kept drifting. Halfway through their conversation, she looked up and said, "Raj, do you ever feel like something is missing? Like there's more to life than just stability?" Raj put down his coffee, looking puzzled. "What are you saying, Amara? You have a great job, we're planning a beautiful wedding. Why complicate things?" His words cut deep, confirming what she had feared. She loved Raj, but she needed someone who saw life the way she did, someone who understood her need to grow, to change, to explore. That night, she found herself lying awake, thinking about her life and her choices. She realized she had 2 options: continue on this safe path with Raj and her corporate job, or take a risk and find her own path, no matter how uncertain. The next day, Amara met with Priya over lunch. She confided in her, spilling out all her feelings about her job, her relationship, and her longing for something different. "Amara, you're at a crossroads," Priya said gently. "It's scary to walk away from everything familiar, but imagine the freedom. You could travel, study, even start that small art business you always dreamed about. Life is short, and every choice shapes who we become." Priya's words lingered in her mind. For the next week, Amara began exploring her options. She dusted off her art supplies, sketching for the first time in years. She started an online art course and felt a thrill she hadn't experienced in ages. In the quiet of her evenings, she began to see a version of herself she had nearly forgotten. Finally, she knew what she had to do. One evening, Amara invited Raj over. She was nervous, but she had made up her mind. "Raj," she started, her voice trembling, "I think we need to take a break. I need to figure out who I am, what I really want in life, and I don't want to hold you back." Raj looked stunned, the hurt evident in his eyes. "Amara, are you sure about this? We've built so much together." She took a deep breath. "I love you, Raj, but I need to love myself enough to follow my heart. I can't keep living this way, feeling like I'm missing out on my own life." It was one of the hardest things she'd ever done. But in that moment, she felt a weight lift off her shoulders. She was stepping into the unknown. But for the first time, she was choosing her own path. Months passed. Amara traveled, worked on her art, and even took on freelance marketing projects to support herself. She faced financial struggles, and there were days she missed the comfort of her old life. but she also felt a new sense of peace. She was finally living her truth. One rainy afternoon, Amara received an email. It was from a gallery interested in her art. They wanted to feature her paintings in an upcoming exhibition focused on self-discovery and transformation. She couldn't believe it. Her art, her journey, was being recognized. At the exhibition, as she walked through the gallery, she felt a mix of pride and disbelief. Each painting represented a part of her journey, from fear to freedom. And as she stood before a painting titled Turning Point, she saw Raj walking towards her. They exchanged a quiet smile. Raj was engaged to someone else now, but they both knew that what they had shared had led them to where they were today. They had grown in different directions, but there was no bitterness, only gratitude. Amara returned home that night, reflecting on the twists and turns her life had taken. She thought of the sacrifices, the moments of doubt, and the courage it took to step into the unknown. She had lost some things, but she had gained so much more: an understanding of herself, a life that felt truly hers, and the peace that came with knowing she had chosen a path of her own making. As she lay down, she felt the gentle calm of contentment. Life was still full of challenges, but she had learned that with each choice, she could create her own meaning, her own story. And that, she knew, was the real victory.
Title: Crossroads of Trust. Ethan Rivera rubbed his temples, sitting alone in his modest kitchen. It was 10 p.m., and he had just returned from a tense meeting with his business partner, Mark. Their small tech startup, Innovent Labs, had been Ethan's dream, a dream that was now on shaky ground. The company had been doing well, but 6 months ago, Mark had convinced Ethan to take on a significant project for a new client, TechCore Solutions. The promise was huge, a multi-million-dollar deal that could elevate Innovent Labs to the next level. But there was a catch. TechCore had a reputation for unethical business practices. They were known for exploiting loopholes, dodging regulations, and even hiding risky details in contracts. Mark had brushed off Ethan's concerns. "This is our chance to make it big, Ethan. We can't afford to be idealistic." Ethan, though hesitant, went along with it. Now, 6 months into the project, the client had begun making shady demands, and Mark was suggesting they look the other way. Ethan could feel his values clashing with his ambitions, and he felt trapped. The next day, Ethan was at his desk when his phone rang. It was his younger sister, Mia. She had been his rock during tough times, and right now, he needed her advice. "Mia, I don't know what to do," he confessed. "If I walk away, we'll lose everything we've worked for. But if I stay, I'm betraying what I believe in." Mia was silent for a moment, then said, "Ethan, remember why you started this. You wanted to create something honest, something you could be proud of. Ask yourself if this client is worth risking your integrity." After their conversation, Ethan's mind was clearer, but the stakes still loomed. A part of him wanted to believe that he and Mark could handle TechCore's demands while keeping their ethics intact. But deep down, he knew it was a dangerous path. That evening, Ethan met Mark at the office. The tension between them was thick. "Look, Ethan," Mark began, "I get that you're uncomfortable with all this, but we're on the verge of something huge. This deal could make us rich. Isn't that what we've been working for?" Ethan looked Mark in the eye, a mixture of frustration and sadness in his voice. "Mark, I want success as much as you do, but not like this. What we're doing feels wrong, and I can't ignore it." Mark scoffed. "Do you think every successful business out there is perfectly ethical? We can't afford to be the exception." Ethan knew then that they were standing on opposite sides of a moral divide. And though it was painful, he made his decision. "I can't continue with this, Mark. I'm out." Mark was stunned. "You're willing to throw all of this away?" "I'm willing to risk it if it means staying true to myself," Ethan replied quietly. He walked out, feeling a strange mix of fear and relief. He was stepping into an unknown future, but at least he knew he was staying true to his values. The next few months were a struggle. Ethan worked hard to secure smaller, ethically sound clients, but money was tight. Some nights, he wondered if he'd made a mistake. Mark had gone on to make TechCore their primary client, and Innovate Labs was now thriving under his sole leadership. Ethan's choice had cost him nearly everything: his partnership, his financial stability, and the business he had poured his heart into. But one evening, Ethan received an unexpected email. It was from Ava Green, a prominent venture capitalist known for supporting ethical startups. She had heard about his split from Innovate Labs and wanted to meet. Intrigued and hopeful, Ethan agreed to a meeting. Ava was direct. "I've heard about what you're doing, and I respect your decision. I believe there's a market for companies with integrity, but it requires patience and persistence. Are you willing to keep fighting for what you believe in?" Ethan felt a renewed sense of purpose. "Yes," he replied. "This is what I'm here to do." Ava smiled. "Then let's build something worth believing in." With Ava's investment, Ethan launched a new company, ClearPath Solutions, a tech firm focused on transparency and ethical practices. Though the journey was slow, his reputation grew. Over time, he attracted clients who valued honesty and integrity as much as he did. Years later, Ethan was attending a tech conference when he spotted a familiar face, Mark. They greeted each other, and Mark couldn't hide his surprise at Ethan's success. "I never thought you'd make it after leaving Innovate Labs. I'll admit, I've faced some trouble with TechCore. They're difficult to work with, and it's taking a toll on the company." Ethan offered a sympathetic smile. "Integrity may not be the quickest path to success, but I've learned it's the only way to build something that lasts." Mark looked down, a shadow of regret in his eyes. They had chosen different roads, each with its own challenges, but only one had truly stayed true to himself. That night, Ethan reflected on his journey. He had faced hardship, doubt, and the temptation to compromise, but his choices had brought him to a place of true fulfillment. He was living proof that success could be built on integrity, and that sometimes the hardest decisions were the most rewarding. And for the first time in years, he felt a peace that money and fame could never buy.
Title: Echoes of the Past. Emma Blake glanced around her old childhood home. After her parents passed away, she had avoided this house, leaving it abandoned for years. Now, at 38, she found herself back, facing a place filled with memories, both cherished and painful. She needed to decide: keep the house, renovate it, and make it her own, or sell it and finally let go of the past. Emma had moved to New York in her 20s, chasing dreams of becoming a writer. She had worked hard, rising as an editor at a publishing house. But after years of grueling hours and minimal personal time, she felt disconnected. She had dated, even come close to marriage once, but it never lasted. Her life felt strangely empty, her success shadowed by a nagging feeling that something was missing. Now, here she was, back in this little town in the countryside, staring at the peeling wallpaper and faded photographs of her childhood. The echoes of laughter and arguments, holiday dinners, and late-night talks lingered in the air. The memories held her here, urging her to confront the life she had left behind. Emma had dinner that evening with her childhood best friend, Sarah, who still lived in town. They shared stories, recalling the days they would sneak out, have midnight picnics, and talk about the future. You know, Emma, Sarah said thoughtfully over coffee, you used to say you wanted to write books that would change people's lives. Do you still feel that way? Emma hesitated, stirring her coffee. I don't know. Life just got in the way. There were bills to pay, deadlines to meet. I guess I lost sight of what I wanted. Maybe this is your chance to find it again, Sarah suggested. Sometimes, going back is the best way to move forward. The idea lingered in Emma's mind long after Sarah had left. She knew she had to make a choice, but it wasn't easy. The publishing job in New York was stable. Her entire life was there. But her dreams, the ones she had lost track of somewhere along the way, those were here. Days passed, and Emma found herself exploring the old house, discovering forgotten treasures in every room. In the attic, she found a dusty box filled with her high school journals, letters, and poems she had written years ago. One poem caught her attention. It was a simple piece about finding home, and in the final line she had written, "Home is where we hold our memories and where our dreams begin." Reading her own words from so long ago struck a chord. She realized how much she missed the freedom of creating stories, of writing with passion and purpose. New York had given her a career, but it had taken her voice, her creativity. Here, in this quiet town, she felt a pull to reconnect with her dreams. The following day, Emma walked to the edge of her parents' old property, a spot that overlooked the rolling hills and fields. It was the place she and her father used to sit and talk about life, about dreams and possibilities. She closed her eyes, letting herself remember his words. Emma, life will push you and pull you, but don't forget who you are and where you come from. In that moment, she knew she couldn't sell the house. She would stay, at least for a while, and give herself a chance to rediscover the things that mattered to her. She would write again, not for a publishing house, not for profit, but for herself. A few months later, Emma was sitting in her parents' old living room, which she had transformed into a cozy writing nook. She had quit her job in New York, something she never thought she'd have the courage to do. She was freelancing for income, but more importantly, she was writing her own novel, a story about love, loss, and the meaning of home. Emma felt alive, energized, as though she were finally on the path she was meant to take. She often met up with Sarah, who had encouraged her every step of the way, cheering her on as she rediscovered her passion. One evening, as she was working on her novel, she received a message from her old publishing house. They were interested in her work and asked if she would consider submitting her manuscript for review. The opportunity was a dream come true, a second chance to share her voice with the world. Years later, Emma's novel was published to critical acclaim. It resonated with readers, capturing the pain of letting go, the courage to begin again, and the beauty of rediscovering oneself. The book became a symbol of Emma's journey back to herself, a testament to the dreams she had nearly forgotten. Now, as she sat on her porch with a cup of tea, watching the sun set over the familiar hills, Emma felt a deep sense of fulfillment. She had come home, not just to a place, but to the dreams and desires she had once abandoned. In this house, surrounded by memories and the echoes of the past, Emma had finally found her future, and for the first time she felt whole.
Title: The Road Not Taken. Oliver Grant leaned against his car, overlooking the mountains that stretched out into the distance. The cold breeze of late autumn brushed against his face as he closed his eyes, inhaling the crisp air. At 45, he was at a turning point in his life, facing a choice that could change everything. For nearly 2 decades, Oliver had worked as an investment banker in a bustling city. His life was consumed by long hours, intense deadlines, and the thrill of big deals. He was well respected, well compensated, and well exhausted. The relentless pace had taken a toll on him, both physically and mentally. He could feel the strain on his body, but more than that, he felt the emptiness growing inside him. a feeling that he was missing out on life itself. 2 weeks ago, Oliver had received a job offer that stirred something within him. A small conservation organization needed someone to help oversee its finances. The position paid far less than his current salary, but it offered the one thing he desperately wanted: balance. The chance to work in a peaceful environment, to make a real difference in protecting nature, and to leave behind the high-stress corporate world. But he was torn. He had built his entire life on financial success. Taking this new job would mean giving up the lifestyle he'd worked so hard to achieve. Could he really walk away from it all? Oliver spent the evening with his younger sister, Rachel, who had always been his sounding board. She had chosen a different path, living in a quiet town as a teacher, and her life had a simplicity and contentment that he admired. "Rachel, am I crazy to even consider this?" he asked, pacing her living room. Rachel smiled, setting down her tea. "You know, Oliver, money is only one kind of wealth. You've built an incredible career, but are you truly happy?" He sank into the chair across from her, rubbing his temples. "I don't know. I think I've forgotten what happiness even feels like." Rachel leaned forward, her voice gentle. "Then maybe it's time to find out. You've given so much to your career. Maybe it's time to give something back to yourself." Her words stayed with him, echoing in his mind as he lay awake that night. Could he really leave behind everything he'd built for an uncertain future, just for the chance at happiness? The following week, Oliver decided to take a break and head to a secluded cabin in the mountains to clear his mind. He had rented it years ago for a family vacation, and he remembered the calm it had brought him, the sense of peace he hadn't felt in the city. He hoped he could find that peace again, in the stillness of the mountains. Oliver spent days hiking, reading, and reflecting. Without the noise of the city and the constant pressure, he felt lighter. He thought about the young man he had once been, the one who loved the outdoors, who dreamed of living simply, who wanted to make a difference in the world. Over the years, that young man had faded, replaced by a version of himself driven by ambition and status. One morning, as he watched the sun rise over the mountains, he made his decision. He would leave his job. He would step away from the relentless chase and finally choose a life that brought him peace and purpose. Back in the city, Oliver handed in his resignation. His colleagues were shocked, unable to comprehend why he would walk away from such a lucrative career. Some even tried to convince him to stay, warning him that he would regret giving up everything he had achieved. But Oliver felt an unshakable certainty. He was finally taking control of his life, making a choice for himself, not for money or recognition. In his new role with the conservation organization, Oliver found a purpose he hadn't felt in years. He worked closely with people who shared his values, who cared about the environment, and who were committed to creating a better world. He spent his days managing finances and creating strategies to preserve local forests and protect endangered wildlife. It wasn't always easy. He struggled to adjust to a simpler lifestyle, and there were moments when he missed the comforts and luxuries his old job had afforded him. But each time doubt crept in, he reminded himself why he had made this choice. One afternoon, Oliver was hiking along a trail to oversee a conservation project when he met a group of students volunteering for a cleanup effort. They were young, hopeful, and passionate, and their enthusiasm reminded him of his own journey. One of the students, a bright-eyed woman named Ava, asked him, "What made you leave the city to do this work?" He smiled, pausing as he chose his words. "I realized that life isn't just about success or money. It's about finding something that makes you feel alive, something that you believe in, and sometimes that means letting go of what you think you should be doing and following what you really want." As he spoke, He felt the truth of his own words settle within him. The doubts, the fears, the anxieties, they were fading, replaced by a deep contentment he had never known. Years passed, and Oliver became an integral part of the conservation team. His work wasn't glamorous, but it was meaningful. He had found a way to use his skills for something he believed in, something that made a difference. Reflecting on his journey, he realized he had taken the road less traveled, a path he might never have chosen if he hadn't dared to listen to his heart. It wasn't the life he had planned, but it was the life he had always needed. And as he looked out over the mountains he had come to love, he knew he had finally found his home.
Title: A Leap of Faith. Sophie Bennett sat at her kitchen table, staring at the email on her laptop screen. It was an invitation to interview for her dream job, an executive role at a renowned fashion company in Paris. It was everything she'd ever wanted: prestige, creativity, and the chance to live in one of the world's most beautiful cities. Yet, a part of her felt uneasy, because accepting this job would mean leaving behind her quiet life in Boston and her small handmade jewelry business that she had worked hard to build. For the past 5 years, Sophie had poured herself into designing and selling unique, handcrafted jewelry. What had started as a hobby quickly became her passion, and her small shop had gained a loyal following. She loved the intimate connection she had with her customers, the way each piece told a story, and the freedom to create without limits. The job offer, however, felt like a calling from her past. Years ago, Sophie had studied fashion design and dreamed of working with top brands. But after an internship in a high-pressure corporate environment, she realized the industry was far more cutthroat than she had anticipated. She had left that world, but now it was offering her a second chance. The question was, did she still want it? That evening, Sophie met her best friend, Lauren, for coffee. She told her about the job and the mixed feelings she had. "Sophie, this is your dream job," Lauren exclaimed. "Paris, an executive role. I mean, who wouldn't jump at this?" Sophie sighed, swirling her spoon in her coffee. "I know, but I don't know if it's my dream anymore. I've put so much into my jewelry business, and it feels like a part of me now. If I leave, I'm walking away from everything I've built." Lauren nodded, thoughtful. "True, but maybe this is a new chapter for you. You could be creating something on a much bigger scale, reaching people all over the world." Sophie felt torn. She wanted to reach people, to create things that mattered. But the thought of giving up her shop, of leaving behind her loyal customers and the community she'd built, filled her with uncertainty. A few days later, Sophie decided to spend the afternoon in her shop, hoping that being there would help her see things more clearly. She busied herself arranging new pieces on display, interacting with customers, and savoring the rhythm of her work. Then, an older woman came in, one of her regulars, who always admired Sophie's passion. The woman looked around at the jewelry with a smile. "Sophie, your pieces are truly special. You don't just make jewelry, you create memories. I bought a necklace here last year, and it reminded me of my late husband. Every time I wear it, I feel close to him. It's a beautiful gift you have." Her words struck Sophie deeply. She had created something meaningful, something that went beyond fashion and style. Her work mattered, not just to her, but to others. That evening, as she locked up the shop, Sophie felt more conflicted than ever. She loved what she did, but a part of her was still curious about Paris, about what she might achieve in a new role. She wanted to know if she could take her craft to a larger stage, yet she feared losing the intimacy she had with her work. After days of deliberation, Sophie decided to go to Paris for the interview, hoping that seeing the city and meeting with the company might give her clarity. The flight felt surreal, as if she were stepping into another life. When she arrived in Paris, she was swept away by the beauty of the city, the art, the fashion, the architecture. She felt the thrill of possibility. The interview went well, and she could tell the executives were impressed by her work. They spoke about how she could bring her unique style to their brand, how she could influence trends on a global scale. The job came with perks she had only dreamed of, and they offered her creative freedom within a well-structured company. It sounded perfect, yet something inside her hesitated. That night, she walked along the Seine, watching the city lights reflect on the water. She imagined herself living here, creating designs for an audience far larger than she had ever reached. But as the excitement faded, she realized she felt strangely detached, as if she were watching someone else's life, not her own. Back in Boston, Sophie returned to her shop. She felt a sense of relief, like she was coming home to something deeply rooted in her heart. She spent hours creating, feeling the joy of working with her hands, of bringing beauty into the world one piece at a time. Finally, she understood. While Paris was enchanting, it wasn't where her heart was. She didn't want a corporate role, no matter how prestigious. She wanted to keep creating for the people who appreciated her work, to continue building her business on her own terms. Sophie wrote a polite email declining the offer. She felt a weight lift off her shoulders as she hit send. She had taken a leap of faith, not by accepting the dream job, but by choosing the life she had built for herself. Over the next few months, Sophie threw herself into expanding her jewelry line, opening an online store, and connecting with a broader audience. Her business grew, and she realized she didn't need Paris to reach people. She could do it right here, sharing her art with the world from the place she loved. Years later, Sophie's brand became renowned not for its size, but for its quality and heart. She had chosen a different path, but it was the one that allowed her to stay true to herself. And as she looked around her shop, filled with pieces that told stories, she knew she had made the right choice.
The crossroads of life. In the bustling city of Dhaka, where the cacophony of life never seemed to pause, lived a man named Arif. In his mid-30s, Arif was at a critical juncture in his life. With a promising career as a software engineer, a loving family, and a close-knit circle of friends, Arif's life appeared well-orchestrated from the outside. But beneath the surface lay a sea of uncertainties and unspoken desires. Chapter 1. The Dilemma. Arif had always been a man of routines, his life a series of well-calculated steps. But recently, a sense of restlessness had begun to gnaw at him. His work, once a source of immense pride and joy, had become a monotonous grind. The corporate ladder he had been climbing now felt like a never-ending staircase, leading nowhere. His days were filled with coding, meetings, and deadlines, but his nights were plagued by thoughts of what could be. The turning point came when Arif's company offered him a prestigious promotion, but it came with a catch. It required relocating to a foreign country. The offer was tempting: a significant pay raise, an exciting new environment, and the chance to work on innovative projects. But it also meant leaving behind his aging parents, his friends, and the city he called home. Chapter 2. Conversations and Reflections. One evening, Arif found himself at a cozy cafe, a place he frequented when he needed to think. As he sipped his coffee, his thoughts were interrupted by his old friend Faisal. "Arif, long time no see, my friend," Faisal exclaimed, taking a seat across from him. "Faisal, just the man I needed," Arif replied with a weary smile. They spent the next hour catching up, and eventually, Arif confided in Faisal about his dilemma. Faisal listened intently, nodding thoughtfully. "You know, Arif, life is full of tough choices. But remember, it's not just about the destination. It's about the journey and who you become along the way," Faisal advised, his voice filled with wisdom. Arif left the cafe that night with Faisal's words echoing in his mind. He realized that his decision wasn't just about his career. It was about his values, his relationships, and his sense of self. Chapter 3. Love and Loss. As Arif grappled with his career decision, his personal life took an unexpected turn. Sarah, his partner of 5 years, had always been his rock. She had stood by him through thick and thin, offering unwavering support. But lately, their relationship had hit a rough patch. Sarah had her dreams and aspirations, which often clashed with Arif's pragmatic approach to life. One evening, over a quiet dinner at their apartment, Sarah broke the silence. "Arif, we need to talk," she said, her voice trembling. "What's wrong, Sarah?" he asked, his heart sinking. "I've been offered a fellowship abroad. It's something I've always dreamed of, but it means we'll be apart for a year," she explained, tears welling up in her eyes. The news hit Arif like a tidal wave. He knew how much the fellowship meant to Sarah, but the thought of being separated from her was agonizing. They spent the night talking, weighing their options, and trying to find a compromise. In the end, they decided to support each other's dreams, even if it meant being apart for a while. It was a painful but necessary decision, one that tested the strength of their love and commitment. Chapter 4. The Crossroads. With Sarah's fellowship and his promotion offer looming, Arif felt like he was standing at a crossroads. One path led to professional success but personal sacrifices. The other promised personal fulfillment but at the cost of career advancement. In a moment of clarity, Arif remembered a conversation he had with his father years ago. "Son, life is not about the choices you make. It's about making the most of the choices you have," his father had said. Arif realized that there was no perfect solution. Life was about balancing priorities and making the best of every situation. He decided to take the promotion, but on the condition that he could work remotely for a year, giving him time to support Sarah and his family. Chapter 5. The Journey. As the year unfolded, Arif faced numerous challenges. Working remotely came with its own set of difficulties, but it also allowed him to spend more time with his parents and visit Sarah whenever possible. The experience taught him resilience, adaptability, and the importance of communication. His relationship with Sarah grew stronger despite the distance. They supported each other's dreams and discovered new depths in their partnership. Arif's bond with his parents also deepened as he spent quality time with them, appreciating their wisdom and love. In the end, Arif realized that life was a series of choices, each leading to new opportunities and challenges. It was about embracing change, learning from experiences, and finding a balance between personal and professional growth.
The unseen world of choices. In a quaint little town nestled between rolling hills and sprawling forests, lived an artist named Eliza. Known for her vibrant and evocative paintings, Eliza had spent years capturing the beauty of the world around her. Her studio, a haven of creativity, was filled with canvases of every size, each one telling a story of its own. Chapter 1. A Mysterious Invitation. One chilly autumn morning, Eliza received a letter that would change her life forever. The envelope, sealed with a wax stamp bearing an unfamiliar emblem, intrigued her. Inside, she found an invitation to a prestigious art exhibition in a distant city. The exhibition promised not only recognition and acclaim, but also the chance to win a substantial cash prize. The invitation, however, came with a caveat. She had to submit a new painting that depicted the theme Unseen Worlds. Eliza was excited by the opportunity, but also felt the weight of the challenge. The theme was broad, and she knew she had to dig deep into her creativity to create something truly unique. Chapter 2. Inspiration from the Past. Eliza decided to seek inspiration from her past. She visited her childhood home, a quaint cottage at the edge of the forest where she had spent countless hours exploring and daydreaming. As she wandered through the familiar woods, memories of her younger self flooded back. In one of her favorite spots, a hidden glade surrounded by ancient trees, Eliza found the remnants of an old treehouse. It was here that she had spent many afternoons drawing and painting, lost in her imagination. The treehouse, though weathered and worn, still held the magic of her childhood. Eliza spent the afternoon sketching the treehouse and the surrounding forest, capturing the essence of the place that had once been her sanctuary. She felt a renewed sense of purpose and clarity, knowing that this special place would be the cornerstone of her new painting. Chapter 3: The Artistic Journey. Back in her studio, Eliza set to work with renewed vigor. She poured her heart and soul into the painting, drawing from her memories and experiences. The canvas began to come alive with vibrant colors and intricate details, depicting a world that existed just beyond the reach of reality, a world where the unseen became visible. As she worked, Eliza found herself reflecting on her life and the choices she had made. She realized that her art had always been a way to navigate the complexities of life, a means to understand herself and the world around her. Each brushstroke was a testament to her journey, her struggles, and her triumphs. Chapter 4: The Exhibition. The day of the exhibition arrived, and Eliza found herself standing in a grand hall filled with art from around the world. Her painting, titled The Unseen World, stood proudly among the other works, its vibrant colors and intricate details drawing the attention of the crowd. As the evening progressed, Eliza felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. She knew that this exhibition could be a turning point in her career, but she also understood that it was just one step in a much larger journey. When the time came to announce the winner, Eliza's heart raced. The jury, impressed by her unique interpretation of the theme, awarded her the first prize. The recognition and acclaim were overwhelming, but Eliza knew that the true reward lay in the journey itself, the process of creating something meaningful and authentic. Chapter 5: New Beginnings. With the prize money and newfound recognition, Eliza decided to expand her horizons. She opened a community art center in her hometown, a place where aspiring artists could come together to learn, create, and share their work. The center quickly became a hub of creativity and inspiration, fostering a sense of community and belonging. Eliza continued to paint, her work evolving with each new experience. She understood that life was a series of choices, each one leading to new opportunities and challenges. Her art, like her life, was a reflection of the unseen worlds within her, a testament to the power of creativity and the resilience of the human spirit.
The fork in the road. In the vibrant city of Dhaka, known for its bustling streets and cultural diversity, lived a man named Imran. In his late 40s, Imran was a seasoned journalist with a reputation for uncovering the truth. His life had been a whirlwind of deadlines, breaking news, and investigative reports. Yet, despite his professional success, Imran felt a sense of emptiness, a longing for something more meaningful. Chapter 1: An Unexpected Proposal. One evening, as Imran was working late in his cluttered office, he received an email that piqued his curiosity. It was an invitation to join a nonprofit organization that focused on humanitarian efforts in remote areas of the world. The organization, known for its impactful work, was offering him a position as their lead communication strategist. The offer was tempting. It promised a new adventure, the chance to make a real difference and a break from the relentless pace of the news world. But it also meant leaving behind the life he had built, the comfort of his routines, and the certainty of his career. Chapter 2: Soul Searching. Imran decided to take a weekend off to reflect on the offer. He traveled to his hometown, a quiet village nestled among green fields and rivers. Here, he found solace in the familiar surroundings and the company of old friends. One afternoon, while sitting under a large banyan tree, Imran's childhood friend, Rafiq, joined him. Rafiq was a schoolteacher, content with his simple yet fulfilling life. Imran, you've always chased stories and sought the truth. But perhaps it's time to write a new chapter in your own story, Rafiq suggested, his words resonating deeply with Imran. As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the landscape, Imran felt a sense of clarity. He realized that his life had become a series of routine tasks, and the spark that once fueled his passion had dimmed. It was time for a change, but the decision still weighed heavily on him. Chapter 3. The Decision. Back in Dhaka, Imran spoke with his colleagues and mentors. Most of them encouraged him to take the leap, recognizing the opportunity for personal growth and fulfillment. But there were also voices of caution, reminding him of the challenges and uncertainties that lay ahead. One evening, Imran had a long conversation with his mentor, Professor Anwar, a retired journalist who had mentored him since his early days in the field. Imran, life is not just about the stories we report. It's about the stories we live. You have the chance to create a narrative that not only changes your life, but also impacts the lives of others, Professor Anwar said, his eyes reflecting years of wisdom and experience. Imran realized that his mentor was right. He had always sought to make a difference through his work, and this new opportunity aligned perfectly with his values and aspirations. Chapter 4. New Beginnings. Imran accepted the offer and embarked on a new journey with a nonprofit organization. His first assignment took him to a remote village in Africa, where he was tasked with documenting the lives of the people and the impact of the organization's efforts. The experience was transformative. Imran found himself immersed in the stories of resilience, hope, and community. He witnessed firsthand the challenges faced by the villagers and the positive changes brought about by the humanitarian work. Through his storytelling, Imran was able to shine a light on the issues that often went unnoticed, bringing attention and support to the cause. His work inspired others to join the effort, creating a ripple effect of change and goodwill. Chapter 5. Reflections. Years later, as Imran looked back on his journey, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The decision to leave behind his comfort zone and embrace a new path had not been easy, but it had been the right one. He had discovered a new purpose, one that brought him closer to the essence of humanity. Imran continued to document the stories of those he met, each one a testament to the strength and spirit of people facing adversity. His work became a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the most challenging circumstances, there was always a glimmer of light.
The Echoes of Destiny. In the heart of Dhaka, where tradition and modernity dance in a complex ballet, lived a woman named Nadia. Nadia was a historian, dedicated to unearthing the stories of the past to illuminate the present. In her early 40s, she had spent years studying ancient manuscripts, forgotten relics, and the tales of yesteryears. Her journey, however, was about to take an unexpected turn. Chapter 1. The Ancient Manuscript. One rainy afternoon, while sifting through dusty archives in an old library, Nadia discovered a manuscript that seemed out of place. The parchment, fragile with age, was filled with intricate writings and illustrations that spoke of a hidden treasure. The manuscript told the story of a legendary artifact said to possess the power to alter one's destiny. Nadia was skeptical but intrigued. She decided to delve deeper into the mystery, seeing it as an opportunity to explore a new aspect of history and perhaps uncover a long-lost secret. Chapter 2. The Expedition. Nadia's research led her to a remote village in the Chittagong Hill Tracts. The journey was arduous, with rugged terrain and unpredictable weather, but Nadia was determined. She assembled a team of local guides and fellow historians, setting out on an expedition to find the treasure mentioned in the manuscript. As they ventured deeper into the hills, Nadia encountered numerous challenges, treacherous paths, language barriers, and the skepticism of the villagers. However, Her passion for history and her unwavering determination kept her going. Chapter 3: The Guardian. In a secluded part of the forest, Nadia and her team stumbled upon an ancient temple, hidden from the world for centuries. Inside the temple, they found intricate carvings and statues that depicted the legend of the artifact. But the most surprising discovery was an old hermit named Arev, who had been living there as the guardian of the temple. Arev shared with them the story of the artifact, a mystical amulet said to be imbued with the power to reveal one's true purpose in life. According to the legend, only those who were pure of heart and unwavering in their quest could find and harness the amulet's power. Chapter 4: The Test of Worthiness. To prove their worthiness, Arev explained that each member of the team would have to face a series of trials designed to test their courage, wisdom, and integrity. Nadia embraced the challenge, seeing it as an opportunity to not only find the artifact, but also to learn more about herself. The trials were grueling. They required physical endurance, mental acuity, and moral fortitude. Nadia faced her deepest fears, questioned her motivations, and confronted the shadows of her past. Through it all, she discovered a strength within herself that she had never known. Chapter 5: The Revelation. After days of trials, Nadia emerged victorious, having proven her worthiness. Arev led her to a hidden chamber within the temple, where the amulet was kept. As she held the amulet in her hands, Nadia felt a profound sense of clarity. It was as if the amulet had unlocked a part of her soul, revealing her true purpose. Nadia realized that her passion for history was not just about uncovering the past, but about connecting it to the present and the future. She understood that her work had the power to shape destinies, to inspire others, and to preserve the legacy of humanity. Chapter 6: A New Mission. With the artifact safely in her possession, Nadia returned to Dhaka with a renewed sense of purpose. She dedicated herself to sharing the stories of the past with a wider audience, using her platform to educate, inspire, and empower others. Nadia's discovery became a symbol of hope and resilience, reminding people that the echoes of the past could guide them towards a brighter future. She established a foundation to support historical research and preservation, ensuring that the stories of the past would continue to be told for generations to come.
The Symphony of Second Chances. In the serene outskirts of Dhaka, far from the city's ceaseless bustle, lived a man named Kareem. At 50, Kareem had lived a life of routine and stability, working as a school principal in a small village. Known for his strict discipline and unwavering commitment to education, Kareem was respected but also somewhat feared by his students. His life seemed well settled, but a sense of unfulfilled dreams lingered beneath the surface. Chapter 1: The Old Guitar. One afternoon, while cleaning his attic, Kareem stumbled upon an old, dusty guitar. The instrument brought back a flood of memories from his youth, a time when he dreamed of becoming a musician. However, life's responsibilities had forced him to set aside his passion for music. Now, holding the guitar again, Kareem felt a surge of nostalgia and a pang of regret for not pursuing his dreams. The discovery ignited a spark within him. He decided to reconnect with his love for music, starting by taking online guitar lessons. With each chord he strummed, Kareem felt a sense of joy and liberation, as if he was reclaiming a part of himself that had been lost. Chapter 2: A New Beginning. Encouraged by his progress, Kareem began to play for his family and close friends. His wife, Amina, and their 2 children were supportive, delighted to see him so passionate about something new. They encouraged him to play at local community events, where his talent quickly gained attention. One evening, after a particularly heartfelt performance at a village festival, an elderly man approached Kareem. He introduced himself as Mr. Hack, a retired music professor. "Kareem, you have a rare talent," Mr. Hack said with a warm smile. "Have you ever thought about composing your own music?" The idea had never crossed Kareem's mind, but Mr. Hack's words planted a seed. Over the next few months, Under Mr. Hack's mentorship, Kareem began to experiment with composing his own pieces. He poured his emotions, experiences, and dreams into his music, creating melodies that resonated deeply with those who heard them. Chapter 3. The Power of Music. Kareem's newfound passion began to influence his work as a principal. He introduced music classes to the school curriculum, believing in the transformative power of music. The students, who once viewed him as a strict disciplinarian, started to see a different side of him. Music became a bridge, fostering a sense of connection and understanding. The school's music program flourished, and Kareem took great pride in seeing his students perform with enthusiasm and joy. He witnessed firsthand how music could inspire creativity, build confidence, and bring people together. Chapter 4. A Life Transformed. As Kareem's compositions gained popularity, he was invited to perform at various events, both within and outside the village. His music, a blend of traditional Bangladeshi tunes and modern influences, struck a chord with many. One of his compositions, titled The Symphony of Second Chances, became particularly popular, symbolizing his journey of rediscovery and growth. Kareem's story attracted media attention, and soon he found himself being interviewed by a local news channel. His journey from a strict school principal to a celebrated musician became an inspiration to many, proving that it was never too late to pursue one's dreams. Chapter 5. Legacy of Hope. Years later, Kareem continued to balance his roles as a principal and a musician. He established a music academy in the village, providing opportunities for aspiring musicians to learn and grow. His life, once defined by routine, had transformed into a vibrant tapestry of creativity and fulfillment. Kareem's journey taught him that life was not just about adhering to responsibilities, but also about embracing one's passions and dreams. He had found a second chance to live the life he had always wanted, and in doing so, he inspired others to do the same.
The Art of Forgiveness. In a bustling neighborhood of Dhaka, where life's rhythm was a symphony of human activity, lived a woman named Reena. She was a successful entrepreneur, running a chain of popular coffee shops in the city. Her life seemed perfect from the outside. Flourishing business, a supportive husband, and 2 wonderful children. However, beneath the surface, Reena grappled with a burden she had carried for years, a broken relationship with her younger sister Maya. Chapter 1. The Estrangement. Reena and Maya had been inseparable growing up, sharing dreams, secrets, and a deep bond. But as they grew older, life's challenges and misunderstandings drove a wedge between them. A heated argument over a family matter escalated into a rift that neither could bridge. Both sisters were stubborn, and neither was willing to take the first step towards reconciliation. Years passed, and the silence between them grew longer and more profound. Reena threw herself into her work, while Maya moved to a different city to start fresh. Despite her outward success, Reena felt an emptiness that no amount of business achievements could fill. Chapter 2. The Unexpected Encounter. One day, while preparing for the launch of a new coffee shop, Reena received an unexpected message. It was from an old friend who mentioned seeing Maya in Dhaka, attending a conference on sustainable living. The news stirred something deep within Reena. She realized that the years of silence had not erased her love for her sister. If anything, it had deepened her longing for reconciliation. After much contemplation, Reena decided to attend the conference. She hoped that seeing Maya in person might open a door to healing their fractured relationship. Chapter 3. The Meeting. At the conference, surrounded by the buzz of intellectual discussions and innovative ideas, Reena spotted Maya. She looked different. Older, perhaps a bit more weary, but still the sister she remembered. Gathering her courage, Reena approached Maya, her heart pounding. "Maya." Reena called out softly. Maya turned, surprise and a mix of emotions flickering across her face. "Reena, I didn't expect to see you here." The initial awkwardness soon gave way to a tentative conversation. They spoke about their lives, their achievements, and their struggles. As the hours passed, the walls between them began to crumble, replaced by a mutual desire to understand and forgive. Chapter 4. The Heart-to-Heart. Later that evening, they went to a quiet cafe, reminiscent of the places Rena owned. Over coffee, they delved into the painful past, addressing the grievances that had kept them apart for so long. Tears were shed, and apologies were exchanged. "I've missed you so much, Rena," Maya confessed, her voice trembling. "I was too proud to admit it." Rena reached out and took Maya's hand. "I've missed you too. I'm sorry for my part in everything that happened. Can we start over?" Maya nodded, her eyes filled with hope. "I'd like that." Chapter 5. The Healing. With a renewed commitment to their relationship, Rena and Maya began to rebuild their bond. It wasn't easy, and there were moments of doubt and old wounds reopening. But they persevered, knowing that their love for each other was stronger than any past grievances. The process of reconciliation brought profound changes to Rena's life. She felt a sense of peace and fulfillment that had been missing for years. Her coffee shops flourished even more, as she infused them with the warmth and love she had rediscovered. Maya, too, found new strength and inspiration in their renewed relationship. She moved back to Dhaka and started a collaborative project with Rena, combining their skills and passions to create a unique space that promoted sustainable living and community bonding.
The Garden of Second Chances. In a quiet suburb of Dhaka, where the city's hustle felt like a distant murmur, lived a woman named Farida. At 60, Farida had retired from her long career as a nurse, a vocation that had seen her through the toughest of times and the most joyous moments. Now, with her children grown and living their own lives, Farida was at a crossroads, searching for a new purpose. Chapter 1. The Abandoned Garden. One morning, while taking her usual walk around the neighborhood, Farida stumbled upon an abandoned garden plot behind an old community center. The garden, once vibrant and full of life, was now overgrown with weeds and neglected plants. The sight of it struck a chord with Farida, reminding her of the countless patients she had cared for who were forgotten by the world. With a newfound sense of determination, Farida decided to revive the garden. She saw it as a symbol of renewal and healing, something she had dedicated her entire life to. She approached the community center's board with her idea, and after some convincing, they agreed to let her take charge of the garden. Chapter 2. Gathering Support. Reviving the garden was no small task. Farida started by reaching out to her neighbors and local community members, inviting them to join her in the project. Initially, the response was lukewarm. Most people were too busy with their own lives to care about an abandoned garden. Undeterred, Farida persisted. She organized a small event at the community center, sharing her vision and the potential benefits of the garden. Slowly but surely, people began to show interest. Families, young couples, and even teenagers volunteered their time and resources. The garden became a community effort, a place where people came together with a common goal. Chapter 3. The Transformation. Over the following months, the garden underwent a remarkable transformation. The once weed-choked plot was now a vibrant oasis of flowers, vegetables, and herbs. Farida and her team worked tirelessly, learning from each other and sharing their knowledge about plants and gardening. The garden became more than just a physical space. It was a place of connection and healing. Neighbors who had barely spoken to each other before now shared stories, laughter, and the fruits of their labor. The garden thrived, reflecting the spirit of the community that had nurtured it. Chapter 4. Personal Growth. As the garden blossomed, so did Farida. She discovered a new passion for gardening and a renewed sense of purpose. She spent her days tending to the plants, feeling the soil between her fingers, and marveling at the beauty of nature. The garden also served as a reminder of her nursing days, offering her a chance to continue her legacy of care and nurturing in a different form. Farida's involvement in the garden also brought her closer to her neighbors. She formed deep friendships, finding joy and support in the community she had helped build. The garden was a testament to the power of second chances and the importance of finding new paths in life. Chapter 5. The Legacy. Years later, the garden remained a symbol of hope and renewal. It had become a beloved fixture of the community, drawing visitors from near and far. Farida, now in her 70s, continued to oversee the garden, sharing her knowledge and passion with anyone who wanted to learn. The garden's success inspired other communities to start similar projects, spreading the message that it was never too late to start over and create something beautiful. Farida's story became an inspiration, a reminder that even in retirement, one could find new beginnings and make a lasting impact.
The path of redemption. In the vibrant streets of Dhaka, where the mix of old traditions and new possibilities created an ever-changing landscape, lived a man named Jalal. Jalal was a once-renowned chef, celebrated for his culinary artistry that had brought delight to many. However, a series of personal and professional setbacks had led him down a dark path. Now in his early 50s, Jalal found himself estranged from his family, battling addiction, and struggling to reclaim his lost glory. Chapter 1. Hitting rock bottom. Jalal's life had spiraled out of control after his restaurant, his pride and joy, went bankrupt. The stress and humiliation had pushed him towards alcohol, which soon became an unshakable habit. His relationships suffered, and his once vibrant spirit was dulled by despair. One cold, rainy night, as Jalal lay in his cramped apartment, the gravity of his situation hit him. He realized he was alone and at rock bottom, with nothing left to lose. It was this moment of clarity that spurred a glimmer of hope within him, a desire to reclaim his life and find redemption. Chapter 2. Seeking help. The next morning, Jalal made a decision. He checked himself into a rehabilitation center, determined to overcome his addiction. The road to recovery was arduous, filled with moments of doubt and pain, but Jalal persevered, drawing strength from the memories of his past successes and the support of the center's staff. During his rehabilitation, Jalal reconnected with his love for cooking. The act of preparing meals, even simple ones, became a form of therapy for him. The kitchen, once a place of professional pressure, now offered solace and a path to healing. Chapter 3. Rebuilding bridges. As Jalal worked through his recovery, he realized that redemption wasn't just about overcoming addiction. It was about mending the broken relationships in his life. He reached out to his estranged family, starting with his daughter Aisha. Their first conversation was strained and awkward, but Jalal was committed to making amends. Over time, with patience and sincerity, Jalal began to rebuild the bridge with Aisha. They shared meals, talked about their lives, and slowly started to mend their bond. It was a painful process, filled with apologies and forgiveness, but it was also profoundly healing. Chapter 4. The Community Kitchen. As Jalal's recovery progressed, he felt a growing urge to give back to the community that had once celebrated him. With the help of a local support group, he started a community kitchen aimed at providing meals for the homeless and those in need. The kitchen became a place of refuge, not just for the hungry, but also for Jalal, a symbol of his journey towards redemption. The community kitchen thrived, drawing volunteers from all walks of life. Jalal's culinary skills, combined with his newfound compassion, created a welcoming environment where everyone felt valued and respected. The kitchen became a beacon of hope, showing that second chances were possible and that people could change for the better. Chapter 5. A New Beginning. Years later, Jalal stood in the bustling community kitchen, surrounded by the hum of conversation and the aroma of delicious food. The journey had been long and difficult, but he had found his way back to himself. His relationship with Aisha and the rest of his family had healed, and he had discovered a new sense of purpose in helping others.
The shifting sands of time. In the bustling heart of Dhaka, where the vibrant chaos of life painted every corner, lived Arif Rahman, a 35-year-old corporate manager at a top multinational company. Arif was known for his diligence, sharp mind, and ability to navigate the labyrinthine corridors of the corporate world. But beneath his polished exterior lay a man at a crossroads, grappling with choices and consequences that extended far beyond his office walls. Arif's journey had been one of ambition and sacrifice. Raised in a modest household, he had worked tirelessly to climb the corporate ladder. His days were a blur of meetings, deadlines, and strategic planning, leaving little time for personal reflection. The high-pressure environment brought success, but also isolation. Friends drifted away, relationships fizzled, and the relentless pursuit of professional achievement often felt like a hollow victory. One evening, as Arif sat in his high-rise apartment overlooking the city's twinkling lights, he received a call that would change the trajectory of his life. It was from his childhood friend Rima. They had been inseparable growing up, but their paths had diverged after university. Rima was now a social worker, dedicated to improving the lives of the underprivileged. Arif, it's been too long. Rima's voice was a comforting reminder of simpler times. I need your help. We're launching a new project to provide education and vocational training in rural areas. We need someone with your skills to manage the project. Will you consider it? The proposal seemed ludicrous at first. Leaving his well-paying job for an uncertain venture was unthinkable. But as the days passed, Arif couldn't shake the idea. His current job, once a symbol of success, now felt like a gilded cage. He yearned for something more meaningful, something that would reignite his passion and sense of purpose. Arif decided to visit one of the project sites with Rima. The trip was a revelation. The stark contrast between his corporate life and the raw reality of rural Bangladesh was jarring. He met people who, despite their hardships, exuded resilience and hope. The experience stirred something deep within him, a desire to make a tangible difference. Back in Dhaka, Arif found himself at a moral crossroads. His career represented security and prestige, but it had come at the cost of personal fulfillment. The project offered an uncertain future, but the potential for profound impact. In a candid conversation with his mentor, Mr. Chowdhury, he sought advice. Life isn't just about what you achieve, Arif. It's also about the legacy you leave behind. Success is fleeting, but significance endures. Mr. Chowdhury's words resonated deeply. With a mixture of trepidation and excitement, Arif made his decision. He resigned from his job and joined Rima's project. The transition was challenging. He had to adapt to a new environment, learn new skills, and navigate the complexities of rural development. But each day brought a sense of fulfillment that he had never experienced in the corporate world. Through his journey, Arif developed deeper connections with the people he worked with and the communities he served. He learned the true meaning of resilience and the joy of contributing to something greater than himself. His relationship with Rima, once purely platonic, evolved into a deep and abiding love, adding a new dimension to his life. Years later, as he stood before a group of young graduates from the Vocational Training Center, Arif felt a profound sense of pride. These were the moments that defined his new life, a life of purpose, connection, and enduring impact. In the end, Arif's journey was not just about the choices he made, but also about the lessons he learned along the way. He discovered that true success lies not in wealth or status, but in the ability to inspire and uplift others. His story became a beacon of hope for many, a testament to the power of personal growth, relationships, and ethical decisions in shaping a fulfilling life.
The Garden of Quiet Strength. In the serene suburb of Uttara Dhaka lived Anika Hassan, a 40-year-old single mother and an accomplished architect. Balancing the demands of her career with raising her teenage daughter, Layla, Anika navigated the complexities of life with a quiet strength that belied the turbulent emotions beneath. Anika's life was a delicate balance of professional ambition and personal responsibilities. She had risen to the top of her field through sheer determination, designing some of the city's most iconic buildings. Yet, her success came with its own set of challenges: long hours, intense competition, and the constant struggle to prove herself in a male-dominated industry. One summer evening, as Anika was reviewing blueprints at her home office, Layla burst in, her face flushed with excitement. "Mom, I got accepted into the International Summer Program for Aspiring Artists in Singapore." Layla's dream had always been to pursue a career in the arts, a path that Anika had wholeheartedly supported. The news was a moment of pride for Anika, but it also brought to light a pressing dilemma. The program was expensive, and their financial situation, already strained by the costs of living in Layla's private school education, would make it a significant stretch. Anika's recent project bids had fallen through, leaving her in a precarious financial position. As the days passed, Anika grappled with the decision. She wanted to support Layla's dreams, but the financial burden was daunting. One evening, while discussing her concerns with her mentor, Mrs. Kareem, an experienced architect and a mother figure to Anika, she received some unexpected advice. Anika, life is full of compromises, but it's also full of opportunities. Sometimes, taking a step back to evaluate what's truly important can lead to the most fulfilling choices. Mrs. Kareem's words lingered in Anika's mind. With a renewed perspective, Anika decided to explore alternative ways to support Layla's dream without compromising their financial stability. She reached out to her network and discovered a local grant for talented young artists. She also started a crowdfunding campaign, showcasing Layla's artwork and story to potential supporters. The response was overwhelming. Within weeks, they had secured enough funds to cover the program's costs. The experience not only reinforced Anika's belief in the power of community and perseverance, but also deepened her bond with Layla. They spent countless nights brainstorming ideas, creating artwork, and preparing for the program together. As Layla departed for Singapore, Anika reflected on the journey they had undertaken. The challenges had tested her resolve, but they had also brought invaluable lessons in resilience, creativity, and the importance of nurturing dreams. Back in her office, Anika immersed herself in a new project, a community center designed to foster creativity and support for young artists. Inspired by her daughter's journey, she wanted to create a space where dreams could flourish, regardless of financial constraints. Years later, the community center stood as a testament to Anika's vision. It became a haven for aspiring artists, a place where creativity was nurtured and dreams were given wings. Anika's journey, marked by the interplay of personal growth, career decisions, and moral dilemmas, illustrated the profound impact of perseverance and the strength of the human spirit.
The uncharted path. In the historic city of Kolkata, amidst its old-world charm and bustling streets, lived Mrinalini Roy, a 45-year-old journalist known for her fearless pursuit of truth. Her career had taken her across continents, unraveling stories that shaped public opinion and brought injustices to light. Yet, as she approached midlife, Mrinalini found herself at a juncture where personal and professional challenges converged, demanding introspection and change. Mrinalini's life had been defined by her work. Her relentless dedication to uncovering the truth had earned her accolades, but it had also distanced her from friends and family. The long hours and constant travel took a toll on her health and personal relationships. Her marriage ended in divorce, and her son Arjun, now in college, often felt the absence of his mother's presence. One crisp autumn morning, Mrinalini received a call from her editor with an assignment that promised to be both challenging and transformative. She was to investigate the plight of the farmers in rural Bengal, who were grappling with debt and the impacts of climate change. The assignment seemed routine at first, but it quickly became a journey of personal and professional reckoning. Traveling to the remote villages, Mrinalini witnessed the stark realities faced by the farmers. She met women like Asha, who toiled endlessly in the fields to support her family, and men like Bola, who struggled to repay loans while coping with the unpredictability of weather patterns. Their stories were heart-wrenching, yet their resilience and hope were inspiring. As Mrinalini delved deeper, she uncovered a web of corruption and exploitation that exacerbated the farmers' plight. The powerful landowners and corrupt officials seemed untouchable, but Mrinalini was determined to bring their actions to light. Her investigation was fraught with dangers, threats, intimidation, and the constant shadow of violence. The turning point came when Arjun, concerned for his mother's safety, visited her in the village. Their conversations were filled with unspoken words and unresolved emotions. Arjun expressed his fears and frustrations, revealing the impact of Mrinalini's career on their relationship. It was a moment of painful clarity for Mrinalini, as she realized the personal cost of her professional choices. Determined to make amends, Mrinalini vowed to balance her dedication to journalism with her responsibilities as a mother. She involved Arjun in her work, sharing her experiences and insights, and they began to rebuild their bond through shared purpose and understanding. With renewed vigor, Mrinalini continued her investigation, this time with the support of her son. They gathered evidence, interviewed witnesses, and crafted a series of articles that exposed the corruption and rallied public support for the farmers. The impact was profound. Policies were re-examined, and the plight of the farmers gained national attention. Years later, as Mrinalini stood on a podium, receiving an award for her groundbreaking work, she looked into the audience and saw Arjun, his eyes filled with pride. Her journey had come full circle. She had not only fulfilled her professional obligations, but also reclaimed her personal life. The uncharted path she had navigated led to a place of balance, fulfillment, and enduring impact.
The unseen threads. In the vibrant city of Dhaka, where ancient traditions intertwined with modern aspirations, lived Kamal Ahmed, a 50-year-old textile factory owner. Kamal had inherited the family business from his father and had dedicated his life to expanding it, turning it into one of the most respected enterprises in the region. However, his journey was marred by difficult choices, ethical dilemmas, and personal sacrifices that tested his resolve and character. Kamal's factory was known for its high-quality fabrics and innovative designs. But in an industry plagued by competition and ethical concerns, maintaining integrity was a constant challenge. The pressure to cut costs and increase profits often clashed with Kamal's principles of fair labor practices and environmental sustainability. One rainy afternoon, as Kamal was reviewing the quarterly financials, his manager, Salim, approached with a proposal that could significantly reduce production costs. The plan involved outsourcing some processes to a cheaper, less regulated facility in a neighboring town. The potential profits were tempting, but Kamal knew it would mean compromising on the standards he had fought to uphold. Kamal's mind was a whirlwind of thoughts. He remembered the stories his father had told him about the importance of integrity and the responsibility they held towards their workers. The faces of the factory employees, who depended on him for their livelihood, flashed before his eyes. He also thought about his daughter, Aisha, a law student passionate about human rights and environmental causes. How could he face her if he chose profit over principles? Seeking clarity, Kamal decided to take a walk through the factory. He watched the workers, their skilled hands weaving intricate patterns, their faces showing a mix of concentration and pride. He visited the section where women artisans embroidered exquisite designs, their nimble fingers bringing fabric to life. These were not just workers. They were the heart and soul of his business. That evening, Kamal had a heartfelt conversation with Aisha. They discussed the challenges and moral dilemmas he faced. Aisha's perspective was enlightening. Baba, the choices we make define who we are. Compromising on our values for short-term gains may bring profits, but it erodes the very foundation of our legacy. We owe it to ourselves and the future generations to uphold what is right. Inspired by Aisha's words, Kamal made a decision. He rejected the proposal to outsource, opting instead to invest in new technology and training programs that would enhance efficiency without compromising their principles. It was a risk, but one he believed was worth taking. Months later, Kamal's factory introduced a new line of eco-friendly fabrics, gaining acclaim for their innovation and commitment to sustainability. The decision to uphold ethical standards paid off, attracting conscious consumers and new partnerships. Kamal's reputation as a principled leader grew, and so did his business. Through this journey, Kamal also reconnected with his workers, fostering a sense of community and mutual respect. He realized that true success wasn't just about profits, but about making a positive impact and staying true to one's values. Years later, as Kamal stood at the opening of a new training center for textile workers, he felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The center was a testament to his belief in ethical business practices and his commitment to empowering others. His journey, marked by challenges, choices, and moral dilemmas, illustrated the enduring power of integrity and the unseen threads that connect us all.
Echoes of the past. In the historic city of Alexandria, where ancient ruins stood as silent witnesses to centuries of change, lived Amal Hassan, a 55-year-old history professor at the local university. Amal was renowned for her profound knowledge and passion for uncovering the secrets of the past. Her life had been dedicated to studying ancient civilizations. But as she approached her twilight years, she found herself questioning the choices she had made and the legacy she would leave behind. Amal's life had been a journey of intellectual pursuit. She had traveled the world, excavated forgotten sites, and authored numerous books. Her work was her solace, and the dusty archives her sanctuary. Yet, her personal life was marked by solitude. Her marriage had ended years ago, and her children, now grown, had moved to different parts of the world. The corridors of the university and the silence of her home were a stark reminder of the sacrifices she had made in her relentless quest for knowledge. One day, while sifting through ancient manuscripts in the university's library, Amal stumbled upon a letter that hinted at the existence of an undiscovered historical site. The letter, dated several centuries ago, spoke of a hidden library containing texts that could rewrite the history of the region. The possibility of such a discovery reignited Amal's passion and curiosity, offering a chance to make one last significant contribution to her field. Amal decided to embark on an expedition to find the hidden library. She gathered a team of young, eager students and colleagues, their enthusiasm a stark contrast to her seasoned expertise. Among them was Nora, a brilliant but headstrong graduate student who reminded Amal of her younger self. Their relationship was initially strained, marked by conflicting approaches and generational differences. But as the journey progressed, they found common ground in their shared passion for history. The expedition was fraught with challenges. The terrain was treacherous, and the clues were cryptic, testing their resolve and determination. Along the way, they faced ethical dilemmas, such as the decision to preserve the site's integrity versus the urgency of academic discovery. These challenges forced Amal to confront her own values and the true purpose of her work. As they neared the end of their journey, Amal and her team stumbled upon a series of underground tunnels leading to a secluded chamber. The chamber, untouched for centuries, was filled with ancient texts and artifacts. The discovery was monumental, offering new insights into the region's history and the lives of its people. In the quiet of the hidden library, Amal had a moment of profound clarity. She realized that her legacy was not just about the discoveries she made, but also about the knowledge she passed on and the lives she touched. Her relationship with Nora evolved into a mentorship, bridging the gap between generations and ensuring the continuity of their shared passion. Back at the university, the discovery garnered international acclaim, but for Amal, the greatest reward was the sense of fulfillment and connection she had found. She began to dedicate more time to teaching and mentoring, sharing her experiences and wisdom with the next generation of historians. Years later, as Amal retired from her position, she left behind a legacy not only of remarkable discoveries, but also of inspired students who carried forward her passion for history. Her journey, marked by intellectual pursuit, personal sacrifices, and moral dilemmas, illustrated the enduring impact of knowledge and the importance of passing on the torch.
A symphony of choices. In the sprawling metropolis of Mumbai, where the hum of life never ceased, lived Ananya Kapoor, a 38-year-old music teacher at a prestigious academy. Her days were filled with melodies and harmonies, guiding young prodigies toward their dreams. Yet, as fulfilling as her work was, Ananya carried a sense of unspoken longing, a desire to compose her own music, to leave a mark that was uniquely hers. Ananya's journey into music began as a child, her love for the piano a gift from her late mother, who had been a celebrated pianist. She followed in her mother's footsteps, dedicating her life to music, but always in the shadows of others' talents and successes. Teaching brought her joy, but the dream of composing her own symphonies lingered, like a distant echo. One evening, after a particularly moving recital by one of her students, Ananya found herself at her piano, playing the piece her mother had once composed for her. The emotions stirred by the music reignited her desire to create something of her own. Determined to pursue her dream, Ananya decided to take a sabbatical from teaching and dedicate a year to composing. The decision was met with mixed reactions. Her colleagues at the academy were supportive, but concerned about the challenges of making a name as a composer in a competitive industry. Her father, while proud of her choice, worried about the financial stability that teaching provided. Ananya herself felt a mix of excitement and trepidation, stepping into uncharted territory. With a resolve to follow her heart, Ananya set up a small studio in her apartment. The early days were difficult. Creative blocks, self-doubt, and the pressure to produce something extraordinary weighed heavily on her. But slowly, melodies began to flow, inspired by her life's experiences, the city around her, and the memories of her mother. One particular composition, a symphony titled Echoes of Mumbai, captured the essence of the city. The chaotic energy, the vibrant colors, the blend of tradition and modernity. The piece was both a tribute to her mother and an expression of Ananya's own journey. As the symphony took shape, Ananya realized that her music was not just about her. It was a reflection of the world around her and the stories of those who had touched her life. Ananya decided to debut her symphony at a charity concert, with proceeds going to music education for underprivileged children. The event was a culmination of her dreams and efforts, and she poured her heart into every note. The concert hall was packed with students, colleagues, and music enthusiasts, all eager to hear her work. As the final notes of Echoes of Mumbai resonated through the hall, the audience erupted in applause. Ananya felt a profound sense of fulfillment, a validation of her decision to follow her passion. The symphony was a success, not just commercially, but also in the way it touched the hearts of those who listened. Following the concert, Ananya received offers to collaborate with renowned musicians and orchestras. She continued to compose, but also returned to teaching, this time with a renewed sense of purpose and inspiration. Her journey had come full circle, blending her love for teaching with her passion for composition. Years later, as Ananya conducted a youth orchestra performing her symphony, she reflected on her journey, the choices she had made, the challenges she had faced, and the fulfillment she had found were all part of a beautiful symphony, one that was uniquely hers. Her story became an inspiration to many, a testament to the power of following one's dreams and the impact of music on the human soul.
The hidden canvas. In the artistic enclave of Santiniketan, where every corner whispered tales of creativity and intellectual pursuit, lived Anirban Chatterjee, a 42-year-old painter who had lost a spark. Once celebrated for his evocative landscapes and vibrant abstracts, Anirban now found himself struggling with a creative block that seemed insurmountable. The colors that once danced effortlessly on his canvas now felt muted and lifeless. Anirban's journey into the world of art had been unconventional. Born into a family of engineers, he had defied expectations to follow his passion. His early works had captured the imagination of critics and art lovers alike, earning him a place among the country's most promising artists. But success had brought its own set of pressures. The constant demand for exhibitions, commissions, and the pursuit of perfection had taken a toll on his creativity and spirit. One rainy evening, as Anirban sat in his cluttered studio staring at a blank canvas, he received a message from an old friend, Sumitra. Sumitra, an art historian, had recently returned from Europe and invited Anirban to join her on a journey to the remote villages of Bengal, where traditional art forms thrived but were largely unrecognized by the mainstream art world. At first, Anirban was hesitant. The idea of leaving his studio and the familiar confines of his city life felt daunting. But something about Sumitra's enthusiasm and the promise of reconnecting with the roots of art intrigued him. With a sense of reluctant curiosity, Anirban agreed to the trip. The journey took them through lush landscapes, quaint villages, and vibrant marketplaces. Anirban was introduced to artisans who worked with clay, textile, and wood, creating pieces that were both exquisite and deeply connected to their cultural heritage. One village in particular, known for its patachitra, an ancient form of scroll painting, captured Anirban's heart. The intricate details, vivid colors, and the stories depicted in each scroll were mesmerizing. Anirban spent days observing the patachitra artists, learning about their techniques and the symbolism embedded in their work. He formed a bond with Mukul, a master artist whose family had been practicing patachitra for generations. Mukul's humility and dedication to his craft were a stark contrast to the commercial pressures Anirban faced in the urban art scene. One night, under a starlit sky, Mukul shared his life story and the challenges of preserving their art in a rapidly changing world. His words resonated deeply with Anirban, igniting a spark of inspiration that had long been dormant. The next morning, Anirban picked up his brushes and, for the first time in months, began to paint with a sense of purpose and joy. He started blending his contemporary style with the traditional elements of Patachitra, creating a unique fusion that paid homage to the ancient art form while expressing his own voice. The creative block that had haunted him seemed to dissolve, replaced by a flow of ideas and emotions that poured onto his canvas. When Anirban returned to Santiniketan, he brought with him a series of paintings that were unlike anything he had created before. The response was overwhelming. His work was hailed as a breath of fresh air, a bridge between the old and the new. The journey to the villages had not only reignited his creativity, but also redefined his understanding of art and its place in the world. Years later, as Anirban held an exhibition of his fusion works, he felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The hidden canvas of his life, once marred by doubts and pressures, was now a tapestry of inspiration, resilience, and cultural connection. His journey, marked by personal growth, ethical choices, and creative rejuvenation, became a testament to the power of rediscovering one's roots and the timeless essence of art.
The threads that bind. In the bustling city of Bangalore, where technology and tradition coexisted in an intricate dance, lived Rajesh Nair, a 48-year-old software engineer known for his innovative solutions and meticulous work ethic. Rajesh had built a successful career in the tech industry, but his life outside the office was a tangled web of personal struggles and unfulfilled desires. Rajesh's journey began in a small village in Kerala, where he was raised in a close-knit family. His parents, both school teachers, instilled in him a love for learning and a strong sense of responsibility. When he moved to Bangalore to pursue higher education and subsequently a career in tech, he promised himself he would always stay connected to his roots. But the demands of his job and the fast-paced city life gradually pulled him away from his family and cultural heritage. One evening, after a long day at work, Rajesh received a call from his sister, Meera. Their father had fallen ill and needed constant care. The news struck Rajesh hard. He had not visited home in over a year, and the guilt of being distant weighed heavily on him. With the growing responsibilities at work, he found it difficult to balance his professional commitments with his family obligations. Rajesh decided to take a leave of absence and travel to Kerala. The journey back home was a reminder of the simplicity and warmth he had left behind. The lush greenery, the smell of earth after rain, and the familiar sounds of the village filled him with nostalgia. His father's condition was serious, but the presence of family and the love that enveloped their home gave Rajesh a renewed sense of purpose. As he settled into the rhythm of village life, Rajesh found himself drawn to the traditional weaving practices that his family had been part of for generations. The intricate patterns and the careful craftsmanship reminded him of the coding he did at work, but with a tangible, emotional connection. He spent hours with the local artisans, learning about the history and techniques of handloom weaving. One afternoon, while helping his father in the small family workshop, Rajesh had an idea. He realized that his technical skills could help preserve and promote the traditional craft. He envisioned a platform that would connect the weavers with a global audience, providing them with the recognition and economic support they deserved. With his father's blessing and the support of his sister, Rajesh set to work. He used his expertise to create an online marketplace, showcasing the beautiful hand-woven products and telling the stories of the artisans. The platform quickly gained traction, attracting customers from around the world who appreciated the unique, handcrafted items. The success of the project brought a sense of fulfillment that Rajesh had never experienced in his corporate job. It also brought his family closer, as they worked together to manage the growing business. His father's health improved, buoyed by the renewed purpose and the joy of seeing their heritage thrive in a modern world. Rajesh's journey was not without challenges. Balancing the demands of the new business with his responsibilities in the tech industry required careful planning and relentless dedication. But the support of his family and the community kept him motivated. He found a way to integrate his professional skills with his cultural roots, creating a life that was both successful and meaningful. Years later, as Rajesh sat at a global craft fair, surrounded by the vibrant textiles of his homeland, he reflected on the path he had taken. The threads that once seemed to pull him in different directions had come together to form a tapestry of purpose and connection. His story became an inspiration to many, a testament to the power of integrating tradition with innovation and the enduring bonds of family. Subscribe for more videos. Your support helps me create more content. Thanks for watching.